Okay, now that you've fired your first leaves and you might be ready for some more realism to your project, so I'm going to show you a technique or two that you can add stems to your leaves and then possibly make branches and otherwise. One option is using high temperature wire. It would be a nichrome wire. I use 17 gauge exactly to put a wire stem in the leaf. Also, you can add a glass stem using pieces drawn out of a vitrograph or pieces you can make in your kiln. Let me first show you the technique for the wire. With that, the bottom mold is placed on your kiln shelf, then the glass, and the 17 gauge wire. This requires sometimes a little dexterity to pull this off, but you want the clear glass piece that I'm going to add to be on top of the wire, and then your top mold, prime side down, goes on top of that. What this does is it encases that wire between two layers of glass, and when the project's done using clear, you have no color change there. It becomes colorless and seamless where the wire is in. Because of the weight of the mold, the sandwich type mold, it presses that in and the clear basically disappears. That's one option. The other option is to do a glass stem, and to do that I've got a piece of out of my vitrograph. You can use different colors, and you can use a pair of mosaic pliers if you'd like to cut them thusly. And with that, disassemble this slightly here. You place your glass here. The stem piece goes in next. With it, you don't need to add another piece on top. You simply place this on top, like so. Now, if you'll notice, when this fuses in, it's going to drop quite a bit, and that's where you can use a piece of shelf paper or a product called silk mat or fiber blanket to kind of even that out so the stem comes straight out or has just a little bend to it, which makes it look more natural. And you can see when it's done, it smashes that stem into the glass so you don't have a bulky area there, and looks pretty doggone natural. Now, when you take a grouping of those, then you can make a plate such as this one and add a branch to it and make a finished project. Now, that branch was actually made by fusing a narrow strip. I purposely made it wiggly, and I took this up to a full fuse, which rounded it up. I added a little bit of frit or powders on top to give it kind of a moss or lichens look, gave it a little more life. Now, the stems for this, you don't have to have a vitrograph. This was simply about the narrowest strip you might be able to cut, and full fuse it. And you can make a strip that you can, once you cut that end off, you can also get a stem look from it, much as you pulled out of the vitrograph. So again, different ways to add some realism to your project using the Naturescape molds and a little bit of more glass.